Dear friends, finally, the first bench of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Suryakant bench has heard the case on the police brutality meted against the basic principles of the right to protest and peaceful assembly and lawful protest that has been ensured in the Indian Constitution under Article 19 of the Constitution of India. And the Supreme Court of India on many occasions had reiterated the right to peaceful protest and assembly. But on the other hand, on the initiation of the Home Ministry, the Delhi police is under the control of the Government of India. It had dealt with brutality on the youngsters, students who have protested against the injustice meted out to the examinees and for the restoration of their educational rights in a fair and democratic manner. But on 20th of this month, the peaceful protest by the lakhs and lakhs of students across the country marched to Parliament on 20th of this month, but it was met with brutality on the peaceful protesters. Initially, the first bench of the Supreme Court of India has failed to address these issues as it is not an urgency matter to be heard. But yesterday it was heard and they said that an independent and fair investigating body would be appointed and issued notice to the Government of India to fix the offenders in this regard. The point herein is that while the Cockroach Danda Party spokespersons have dealt the matter with the union ministers and agreed to withdraw all the FIRs filed in this case without any condition. But the Supreme Court of India is saying something is not according to the trust of that is agreement made in between the contesting parties, that is the protesters and the Government of India. Now it is laying certain guidelines so as to put responsibility, that is only persons, students below the age of 18 years should be released forthwith in their own bonds if sureties are required, and others would be prosecuted under the FIRs. This is contrary to the agreement reached in between the Government of India and the protesters. Hence, the larger interest of restoring the peace and tranquility in the country, the Supreme Court of India should consider the offenders, that is, who have taken violence on their own hands, should be penalized. But the FIRs against the students of this country in various states, that is not only in Delhi, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Bengal, Uttar Pradesh and many parts of the country, the police authorities have acted in a vindictive manner on the directions of the respective state governments and on the directions of the Home Ministry. In this regard, I would like to reiterate an editorial that has been written in the New Indian Express for the viewers' consumption. I quote: "The Supreme Court struck the right note on Tuesday by ordering the release of all detained underage protesters without criminal history and proposing an independent inquiry into the violence wreaked at the students' agitations across the country. As MPs in Parliament demanded accountability for and action against the police excesses committed on students student protesters. The police excesses committed on students protesters. The top court noted that such cases in the BJP ruled states of Delhi, Maharashtra, Bihar, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and West Bengal, and the Congress ruled Kerala. Charges of the forces using pellet guns, rubber bullets, charges of the forces using electric buttons and nail-studded lathis were put on record. It is a moment to acknowledge that the application of a disproportionate force against a spontaneous democratic expression cannot be controlled. Undue coercive action can push the people back on the streets, something no government would want. The center and the states should learn from the fact that every time the heavy-handedness of police came down, the protesters came back in large numbers with a longer list of complaints against government ineptitude. Consider also the dark irony that the while students were braving police action to demand a better education system, fresh allegations of leaked questions and mass cheating emerged from 4 states in July alone. At stake were the recruitment of 154 food and drug inspectors in Maharashtra, an Ayurvedic exam in Gujarat, the hiring of 454 pharmacy officers in Punjab, and 2 engineering semester exams in Uttar Pradesh. It is as if a supremacy, inefficient and corrupt system is continuing to mock at the aspirations of the young Indians, while the state machinery strives to crush their legitimate reconstruction. A broken education system is especially debilitating for a services exporting nation that is still trying to pull the world's largest cohort of people out of extreme poverty. Administrations are bound to maintain balance while dealing with the dissent, especially in a country whereby the government's own admission 1 in every 6 employable youngster aged below 30 is jobless. Bihar's action against a policeman accused of firing an assault rifle at protesters needs to be emulated in other jurisdictions. The Supreme Court has started with an appropriate intervention. We hope it will walk the talk when it is time to decide on the substantial question of the protesters' right to equality and personal liberty, freedom of expression, and peaceful assembly, and safeguards against arbitrary detention. This was the editorial made by the New Indian Express today. But on the other hand, the attitude of the government of India and the apex court, that is the Supreme Court of India, regard is going against the spirit and content of the editorial. And many Supreme Court judgments had held that the peaceful protest and the peaceful assembly are lawful in nature and should not be penalized. There had been umpteen number of guidelines in this regard. But the Supreme Court of India and the Government of India are dealing with this matter in a different tone, creating a lot of fears and apprehensions in the minds of the youngsters. Unless or otherwise, the talks in between the 2 contesting parties, that is the youths of this country and the Government of India, are fulfilled, that has been made on July of this month with the union ministers. Definitely there would be some sorts of protest at Jantar Mantar in very recently. This is an alarming bell caused on the emergency type of situation in country. In many parts of the country, in most parts of the uh, territories. Youngsters have got their education, but they have not found any employment opportunities so as to be humble human beings and live their livelihoods in a peaceful manner. This should be addressed. The government of India and all the state governments should create employment opportunities for the students so as to get their work to be considered as an honest making of their lives and also for the improvement of the economics of this country. This is the message of this video. Thank you so much.